Hey guys, so I know it's been like a while since I made it like a certain type of video on this channel, and it's actually the type of video I made this channel for. This channel is supposed to be a channel for me to really express my ideas about gaming news and what's happening in gaming now, not just reviews of games, which I enjoy doing, and is one of the reasons I made this channel, but for my opinion on stuff as it occurs, like the recent news about the Mega Man Legends 3 being canceled, stuff like that, and my real-time reaction to it, which just while I'm on that issue, I don't like it very much. But no, this video, I thought, in order to get myself back in that type of video making type mood, I don't know, get my mojo running again on that front. I'd make a video of my most anticipated games for the rest of 2011. Tell you what they are, I'm anticipating them. It's not going to be in any order from best to worst or most to least anticipated. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page for 2011 releases in video gamings. 2011 video game releases, and burping. And the way it goes, first it goes chronologically through the year. So right now I'm looking at the August games, and then it does unlisted games. And I'll read, I'll scroll through that, see what games I'm in the mood for. Not in the mood for, what games I'm anticipating. See, my whole video mojo is off. I'm trying to get that back. So I'll jump right in, and the first game here, August 16th. I've talked about it before on my other channel a whole lot, Dash Roll Rush. El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron. It's just a beautiful looking game. It's made by, let's see, who's it made by? It is made by, the development is led by Takayasu Sawaki, who is the character designer, I think the lead artistic creative director designer person on Okami, which is a really beautiful looking game. This seems to be a kind of spiritual sequel, at least in terms of art, to Okami. It's it doesn't keep one style. It's very varied. Like from the videos I've seen, there's this one really cartoony looking world, and then there's one kind of watercolory, kind of like white, both like flashes and splashes of like colors. You could download the demo and see an example of one of the worlds I'm talking about. It's on Xbox Live. It's on PSN. Really, I do recommend the demo. And then there's another world that's kind of Tron-like in design, where it's like black with like lines of like blue and red and stuff. And it just, other than just looking like the most beautiful game ever, it seems to be a really fun platformer beat 'em up, where there's 3D platforming, there's 2D platforming, but also it's very heavy on action, where you'll be fighting guys that, from what I saw in the demo, and from trailers, you get into a battle, and then it kind of closes off, kind of like in Okami. When you get into a battle, you're kind of warped or transported to this little closed-in little circle, and then you do battle there. And there's only 3 weapons in the whole game, so you'll get really good at using each of the weapons and exploring how they're different. And you'll fight these enemies, and it's really hard. You'll be fighting maybe 1, 2, 3 enemies at a time, because it is such a difficult game. And it's kind of like a dance, the way you attack your enemy, then you have to back off, you have to dodge and block and stuff, and you actually have to steal weapons from your enemies and then purify them to use them. And it just looks so good, both from not just a looking visual standpoint and also from a game standpoint. It seems extremely smooth, solid, fine-tuned, just fun. It flows like you think it would flow. Basically, it plays how it looks, and I'm just really excited for it. So the next game, blah 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 blah, 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 blah. Star Fox 64 3D. I'm not really going to go into that. I mean, I don't even know if I'm really going to get it because I've played Star Fox 64 before. I liked it. It's not one of my favorite games, but I don't know, I might. If you don't know how Star Fox 64 plays, I'm not going to bother explaining it because I really don't want to. Okay, getting into Q4, October, Dead Rising 2 off the record. I made a video, I know I made a video about that before, where I love the Dead Rising series. One of my favorite series of this console generation. I especially love the sequel. It was way improved over the first one. And, hello puppy. And, I'm getting distracted. And, but yeah, Dead Rising 2, one of my favorite games of last year. And it's just really fun to play. And, like, if this were a sequel, I'd buy it. If this were Dead Rising 3, I'd buy it. But the problem is that I have with this game is that it's a remake of Dead Rising 2, and the only difference seems to be it's a bit bigger. They have a few new areas, and that you play as Frank West instead of Chuck Green. And it is a discount. It's only, I think, $40, so it is discounted. But I'm still not sure if that's worth it. I might trade in Dead Rising 2 for it, or I doubt I'll do another Let's Play of it, unless I'm really. Well, I'm not, because I'm looking at the calendar now and I know there's stuff coming up. But hint. Like I'm not sure whether I'm excited for it because it is technically a new Dead Rising, but I don't know if I'm gonna get it because it is just a remake, and I don't know how I feel about that. And going back to the thing about Capcom, you know, and the Mega Man Legends 3, I don't like the way they're handling themselves right now. Capcom, they're making a remake of. Well, not a remake, an updated version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Still no Mega Man in it, but they do have Phoenix Wright. That's pretty exciting. I really wonder how he's going to play. But they have they're making that again. There's I don't know if it's out already because I don't really follow it, but Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. They're remaking Dead Rising 2. They're I don't know. They're just kind of in this whole remake. You know, gradually milking a franchise, but not making anything new with it. They're just milking, instead of milking a franchise, really, they're just milking the same game, and not bothering to really make any substantial improvements over, and that worries me. Because I love Capcom. I really do. I like Dead Rising. I'm not really a big fighter, but I can appreciate Street Fighter. I like just, you know, messing around in Marvel. I haven't really played Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is just fun. I'm terrible at it, but it's fun to just play, you know, even if you're not good at it, because it's just so actiony. I like playing, well, the Mega Man games, I've never been good at them, and, like, I've never really enjoyed them as much as I do Mario or Sonic, you know, in terms of retro platformers. But the Mega Man X series I really enjoy, because those aren't really as hard, I don't think, from what I played. I only played the first two. So maybe they get harder, but they weren't as hard as, well, they weren't really as unfairly hard. You know, there are no, like, Quickman laser room type situations. There are no you know, things that pop out of gaps, and like it's like you wait, you know, it's like the first time you run through, it jumps and it hits you and you die. Then the second time you wait for it to go down, you jump and the second one comes up, like nothing like that. Where you know, there's no really big surprises in terms of levels like that. Nothing really unfair. But I'm getting off track, but I really don't like how Capcom's, you know, not really doing that, and the whole and what they did with the Resident Evil Mercenaries game, where the saves are completely permanent and you can't delete them without hacking, which I'm sure, you know, people already hacked it and found a way to do that. But you can't. Like, I just don't like the way Capcom's like doing in that direction. I think they really should reconsider how they're behaving. But back to what I was doing. October 18th, Batman Arkham City. I mean, yeah, Batman Arkham City. I'm getting really distracted. I'm sorry, my dog is just all over my room. You can't see him. Yeah, no, on track, soundtrack. Batman Arkham City. Batman Arkham Asylum was one of my favorite games of all time. I'm a huge Batman fan. And like Arkham City was just the perfect Batman video game experience. You felt like the Batman beating up people. You felt like the Batman, you know, stalking and sneaking up on people and hanging them from gargoyles. And Arkham City just like takes Arkham Asylum, makes it bigger and gives you more stuff to do and more villains. They just recently announced Talia al Ghul, and Solomon Grundy, both of which I think are underappreciated, especially Talia. One of my friends, Adam, one of my friends with an apostrophe S, Adam, that's the name of the friend, really likes the Agul family, Raz, Talia. So he's not really into gaming as much as like me or more of my friends, but he's really into comics. And he bought Arkham Asylum and he really liked it. So I haven't told him. I'm not sure he knows about Talia yet. I haven't been spoken to him about it, and he really doesn't like spoilers, even if they are advertising and previews and stuff. So I don't know if he wants to know, but yeah, he's really. I guess he'd be excited for it. And I am. It's just Arkham Asylum was a great game. If you haven't played it by now, definitely pick it up. It's probably $30 or something. Because it's definitely one of the best games. I'd say one of the best ever made. It's a really good action adventure. It's kind of Metroid-y, but it has more like hand-to-hand combat, and then you have the whole stealth element because you are Batman. You can't just go around, oh hey, I'm Batman, making fireworks happen all over. You have to be sneaky. And it was just really fun to be. It really felt like you were Batman. In Arkham Asylum. And in Arkham City, it just takes that experience and puts it on a way bigger scale, where you're not in just Arkham Island anymore, you're in Arkham City, which seems to take cues from the No Man's Land arc from the comics, where there was a huge earthquake and all of Gotham was kind of quarantined because of the earthquake, and then all the villains from Arkham broke out and took over. Well, actually, the asylum was damaged in the earthquake, and they all flooded out. So it kind of takes cues from that. So you'll have this whole huge chunk of Gotham City, which is now the new Arkham Asylum, to just play in, and it has this whole open world element, which Arkham Asylum really didn't have because it was a huge place, Arkham Asylum, but there were only so few buildings. But in Arkham City, it's so big, and you could. And the gameplay footage they shown, you're just zipping up buildings and you're gliding, using like the bat glidey cape that was that's really popular, that Christopher Nolan kind of popularized in his trilogy of Batman movies. So you're zipping up a building and then you're gliding and then you're dive bombing and you could build up speed and you could zip to another building with the bat line, and oh, it just looks fun to travel around. And of course you're Batman, so you could just like crash down to the ground and it makes a shockwave for some reason, and then you beat up people and you can interrogate them in this game, which is really cool. You can interrogate some of the Riddler's henchmen to find out what Riddler's planning, and oh, it just looks so cool. I can't wait for the game. Moving on, October 25th is SpiderMan Edge of Time. Actually, that got moved, actually. Let me check. I have some dates written. Yeah, that got actually recently changed to October 4th, Spider-Man Edge of Time, so that comes out before Batman Arkham City, which is kind of I don't know if it's a sequel or just a spiritual sequel to Spider-Man Shattered Dimension, just made by the same developer. It kind of uses the same engine, same type of gameplay from what I've seen of it. I didn't play Shattered Dimensions, but it looked good from what I've seen. I'm not really as big of a Marvel fan as I am a DC fan, so I'm more on Batman than I am Spider-Man. But Spider-Man 2 is again one of my favorite games. Not of all time, I wouldn't say, but I still own it. I own my a GameCube copy of it. I still take time, whenever I'm bored and I'm in the mood to just swing through Manhattan in that in Spider-Man 2. And I know this isn't an open world like Spider-Man 2 is, but I do like playing as Spider-Man. I think, like, out of every superhero, I'd like to have Spider-Man's web slinging. I know it's not really a power. He developed it. It's wrist thingy, and he just blah, and there's a machine that shoots out synthetic web. Unlike in the movies, I think Raimi did them, and like the recent trilogy, where it's just a natural superpower. But I do think, like, I'd love to, out of every superhero type mode of transportation, I think that would be the most fun way to get around, this web slinging. So I do always like playing as Spider-Man, even if it's not an open world to web sling in. Just to web sling forward is really cool, and from what I've seen, from what I've heard from other people, Shattered Dimensions was actually a really competent game in its own right. Again, it's another beat 'em up, but they do have the web slinging, which is cool, and you are Spider-Man. Apparently, it fights like I was just praising Spider-Man 2 minutes ago, but the fighting in that game is really shallow. But Shattered Dimensions actually had like really good fighting engine. So you were fighting like Spider-Man, where you had the spider senses, so you dodge, and then you'd hit, harder than a normal person. But they're, enemies would be armored, and so anyway, I'm not as excited for that for Spider-Man Edge of Time, but I mean, if I have money and time, I'll pick it up. So entering November, which of course is always a big month for gaming because that's when the holidays shopping is done. Keep in mind, like, I'm skipping Uncharted 3 because I don't have a PlayStation 3, so I'm only really going to name stuff for 3DS, Wii, and 360. So Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Honestly, I've never been an Elder Scrolls fan, and I'm not really big on the RPG genre, but it does look like an interesting game. I do like high fantasy and stuff like that with dragons and that type of medieval dragon barbarian D&D type stuff. I like that, but and I mean, it does look like a fun game. But the only thing really stopping me from going all apeshit about it is that I'm kind of intimidated, honestly, because it is such a huge game, Skyrim. It looks fun. I've been reading up on it, and it has like it's like a real-time world where like none of the animals, like, you'll have these dragons flying around the world, and they're not scripted. Like, the dragons just go wherever they fucking please, and they'll land randomly, and they'll attack people randomly, and so that's really cool. Like, you'd just be adventuring in the world, and a dragon just flies overhead, burns a nearby village. You're like, oh, well, those guys are screwed. And then 3 minutes later, or whatever, the dragon circles back and then lands, and you're like, oh, fuck, a dragon, and it's attacking you, and you're like, oh my god, I hope I'm equipped for this, and it turns out you aren't, and then you die. Anyway, it just seems like a cool, like, just a huge open world, a huge open fantasy world that you could play through. And that's an exciting prospect for me, but it's also very intimidating because it seems like a huge time sink, and it seems like there'd be a lot of math involved in finding out how to level up and make your character as strong as he could be. So I'm kind of nervous about actually getting it, just because I don't want to just leave it on my shelf incomplete, saying, oh, I had fun, but it's just too big. So the next game I'm seeing here is Assassin's Creed Revelations. The Assassin's Creed series, like Dead Rising, one of my favorite new IPs of this generation. The first one, meh, but 2 and Brotherhood were amazing games, amazing adventure action games, but with like a heavy emphasis though on like kind of platforming, which I think is really cool because I love platformers. So scratch, scratch, scratch. Again, really competent. It just looks the focus. The Assassin's Creed series, like even from the jump to 1 to 2, from the jump to 2 to Brotherhood, it's just gone progressively better and progressively bigger and more fine-tuned, and just it's a franchise. And I guess the only like comparison I can really make is to Mario, really, where every game has kind of reinvented what it does, and how it does it. Like, it's always an Assassin's Creed game, but it's just so much better and so much more evolved than the past one, where it seems like they're always kind of just building on what they had the last game. Like, they'll start off, like Assassin's Creed 1 was the foundation, and then they build this luxurious house, right, with Assassin's Creed 2. Then they extend it, now you have this luxurious mansion, and then with Revelations you're going to make a giant castle, and then with Assassin's Creed, whatever the next one after Revelations is going to be, like a giant fucking tower with lasers or something. Like, it's just a game that keeps on building and making what it previously did better than the previous game. So I'm really excited for that. And of course the last two and Brotherhood were exceptional. Both like 9 out of 10s in my book. So I can't wait to see where Revelations goes with the series. It's also one with a continuous story throughout, and it's actually, like, in gaming, it's one of the more interesting stories in video games. So I really can't wait to see where the story goes too. Also, November 15th coming out, Rayman Rayman Origins. Again, I've never really been into the Rayman series. I played Rayman 1. I played Rayman 2. I haven't played Rayman 1. I played Rayman 2, not Rayman 1. Everyone has played Rayman 2 though. That's been ported to like every fucking console, every fucking system, PC, everything on Earth. So I'm guessing everyone's played Rayman 2 just because it's been on everything. And it was a great platformer. Can't really remember it really, but I know I've played it. Yeah. My dog's making strange noises. So, but what really excites me about Rayman Origins is that it's a 2D platformer, and that's like my favorite genre ever. And again, it looks really, it's like hand-drawn graphics, I think, or it looks like that. It looks like hand-drawn graphics. It's a really pretty game. And I know I'm saying that for a lot of these, but it's really pretty. It's like this hand-drawn, cartoony world. It's a 2D platformer. Apparently it's co-op, and I don't really care about that because I don't really play games with other people. But it just looks like a really, really good 2D platformer, and I'm always up for one of those. It looks beautiful. One of the trailers, I think the E3 trailer, had this really cool Tetris reference, where in one level, like there's lava or acid or something you can't touch, like some liquidy thing you can't touch, and then these blocks drop from the ceiling, and you have to jump on them, and you find out that they're Tetris blocks. You know, like the first one's just like a line, and the next will have like the L, and you know they look pretty inconspicuous. Then you notice the block, and then the line, and the T block, and it actually plays like a remix of the Tetris theme. So you realize you're just platforming on Tetris blocks, and I think that's really cool. I like nods to old games like that, especially Tetris, because Tetris is amazing. Next is Saints Row the Third. Kinda in the same way I'm anticipating Elder Scrolls, where like I'm not really a big fan of open world games that much. Yeah, I said I'm a big fan of like Assassin's Creed, but in Assassin's Creed, by open world I mean that you're free to choose like a number of missions to do. You know, like with Assassin's Creed, there's always like you're always being led to the next mission, and the open world is just a way to get from one mission to the other and make it more interesting. But with stuff like Elder Scrolls or Saints Row, the way I'm picturing it is that you're given 20 missions and you could just choose what to do. But Saints Row is completely different than Elder Scrolls, of course, because it takes place kind of in a modern time. And what really is exciting about Saints Row the Third is that it's completely batshit insane. I can't pronounce things. Where you could go through the world. Apparently, I haven't been following the Saints Row series either, but apparently in this, the Saints are this like huge, big-time celebrity gang. They have like sponsorships, and they have their own energy drink and their own, you know, stuff, but they're still a gang. So they're still like robbing banks, but they have like huge papier-mâché heads of their own faces, because they're so famous that like they'll rob a bank and they'll have to sign autographs, because they're so like famous, and they have all this power where if you see a guy you don't like, you can just run up, summon like not summon, but call like an airstrike down, like just barrage of missiles come and blast these other people you don't want living, you know, all around. And then you could just run around the city, find like a jet, and just soar around in the jet and missile stuff and laser stuff and like hit people with a giant fucking dildo. And there's this tank, and you could run over people and shoot them out of the top of the tank. And it just looks so fucking batshit insane and so fun just to mess around in, that I'm thinking of picking up just as like a fun, neat little sandbox experience. Like I don't fucking care about the story. I just kind of want to fly jets and fire people out of cannons and hit them with giant dildos. Next game, Wikipedia is saying that Sonic Generations comes out November 22nd. My throat's starting to hurt. Sonic Generations, of course, I'm a huge Sonic fan. My first game was Sonic 2. Ever since then, I've just been a huge fan. Everything Sonic. Well, not everything. Sonic 06 sucked. Sonic Unleashed, the Werehog part sucked. You know, I'm not like a dumb fan. I just don't eat up whatever Sega shits out. But since Sonic Unleashed, the games have been getting progressively better. They've been working on how the 3D sections work. how the 3D engine, how they handle 3D Sonic. Started with Sonic Unleashed, it was really good there. Evolved in Sonic Colors, now we're getting it in Sonic Generations. And also in Sonic Generations, you get the classic 2D type Sonic from Sonic 1, 2, 3. And they're going through all the old levels. They're remastering them, remixing them, remaking them into hopefully better levels. Like I think the level list was leaked. I'm not gonna read all of them because I don't have them all on the top of my head. But the level list, it has Green Hill, it has Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, City Escape, like all the best levels in the mainstream Sonic games, and they're just making them bigger, and they're making it so, like, you know, you could play Green Hill with modern Sonic with the modern game design, and then you could play like City Escape with classic 2D Sonic, and it's just like a celebration of Sonic history, and I really hope it's a good game because I'm really excited for it, and I don't want it to suck. So what's next? Now we're going to the unscheduled releases. Battle Block Theater, that I have no idea when that's coming out. I talked about that, I think, last year, or in the beginning of the year for games I'm excited about. I'm not going to talk about it again because really no news has come up about it. What else? Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. A lot of new trailers have been coming out. Apparently there are Gorons in it, which is cool because I love Gorons because Gorons are amazing. And yeah, I'm excited for Zelda. It's supposed to come out holiday. Holiday 2011. And again, it's the Zelda series. Just what's not to love? Zelda games are always top shelf. And like, you know, Mario and Assassin's Creed, the newest, you know, the newest, at least the newest console iteration of every Zelda, takes what the last one had and like fully integrates it and then makes it new and better, and then adds its own really good stuff into the Zelda pot. And this one has, like Red Steel 2 did, one-to-one sword swinging with the Wii Motion Plus. Unlike Red Steel 2, it's in third person, so you actually see Link and swinging the sword, and it just looks, because of that, like the fighting in Zelda, I felt has always been kind of weak, in that it's not like this huge scale fighting affair like you'd have with Samurai Warriors or Dynasty Warriors or like most beat 'em ups. It was always kind of the small scale type of thing, but it's just become so much more exciting because you're actually doing the motions. It's not just clicking a button to slash a guy 3 times. You actually have to swing your sword to do it. And of course it still has the Zelda dungeons, the Zelda puzzles, everything we love about Legend of Zelda. But it's just now a whole lot more interactive, so I'm excited for it. It also says here Mario Kart. I really don't think I have to go into this. It's a new Mario Kart. Mario Kart's always fun. This is on the 3DS. If it's anything like the one on the DS, where it has just great multiplayer, it's just going to be worth it for the multiplayer. And Mario Kart's just a fun franchise. Still the premier kart racer. You know, where it's not realistic, still the most, just the most fun racer, I think, Mario Kart, and so I'm definitely picking up the new one if it comes out this year. What else? Mario Kart, the Super Mario 3DS, again, do I really have to go into a lengthy explanation? It's Mario. I'm gonna get it. I'm a huge Nintendo fan. Mario has never disappointed. Even Sunshine, when it first came out, I loved it. Of course, I was younger then, but it's still a great game in its own right, Sunshine. Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are like my 2 most favorite games ever. And the Super Mario 3DS seems to be a combination of the Galaxy and the 64, in that it's not in space, but it's still taking, you know, it's taking like 64 kind of open worlds, like big open Mario-y, Mushroom Kingdom-y worlds, but with a more linear type navigation, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it's a new Mario game, so I'm excited for it because it's Mario. And that's everything that Wikipedia has on it. I know there are a lot more games. Oh, how did I forget this one? Because I just saw a trailer for it before I made this video. The new Kirby game, Kirby Wii. I think they recently actually gave it a title, Kirby Return to Dreamland. Again, huge Nintendo fan. huge Kirby fan. Um, like Kirby's, it's never been a hard series. It's never been, you know, it's never been as inventive. I mean, as not, it's been definitely as inventive as Mario, but it hasn't been really as mainstream as Mario. It hasn't had the acclaim really. Um, but it's still one of my favorite platforming series ever. They've always been exceptionally well made, just with every other Nintendo franchise. There's always been exceptionally well made, and while I haven't really had the innovation, that's what I meant to say, is between games as Mario, they haven't. Something just popped up on name where they haven't really reinvented the Kirby franchise every game like they do Mario. They've always been solid platformers, and they've always been really good, really fun. Not the hardest, but sometimes you want an easy game just to stroll through. And oh, are you gonna stop? Okay, I think he's gonna stop now. Anyway, so they've just always been really fun platformers. I love Kirby. This one's bringing super copy abilities, I think they're called. I don't know what they're called. But anyway, what it is that there are these special kind of glowy enemies, and you inhale them. Then you get the superpower, but instead of like other Kirby abilities, it's this one, the super one's on a timer, where you can pull off these huge mega attacks, like the sword that like clears the whole screen of enemies and like destroys certain pieces of land. And so that's basically the new thing here. But but unlike a lot of recent Kirby games where like Epic Yarn or the Paint one, Canvas Curse. This is classic Kirby. This is Kirby inhaling people and absorbing their abilities or spitting them out, and so it's a great return to form, I think. I think this is the Kirby game that's been in development for like 7+ years since the GameCube. So I'm really excited for it because I love me some Kirby. And this one has multiplayer, co-op multiplayer. And this is something I'll definitely try to play with other people. I'm like going to drag my friends. You're playing Kirby with me. And they're like, but Kirby's for... Actually, they enjoy Kirby too. They probably wouldn't complain. But this one, you could play as Kirby. And then they have three... We could play as the three co-op partners. Meta Knight, amazing. DDD, sweet. And Waddle Dee, that's player 4 because Waddle Dee, yeah, fuck. But playing as Meta Knight and King Dedede and Kirby, you have that whole 3 team, and Waddle Dee just kind of doing the fuck Waddle Dee's gonna do. It just seems like a fun platforming ROM. So, Kid Icarus. I think that's still scheduled for 2011. The new Kid Icarus game, Kid Icarus Uprising. Not much new news coming from it. But again, I'm excited for it. It looks fun. Kind of another action game, but they're taking the flight element from the Kid Icarus franchise, moving that to kind of its own in the air. You know what? I'm not going to talk about it much because there really isn't any news on it. You could look up trailers. Anyway, I'm excited for Kid Icarus 2, or Kid Icarus 3 rather. Kid Icarus Uprising. I'm excited for that also. And I know there are more games. I'm trying to keep it focused on 2011. Like I know there's Luigi's Mansion 2. There's stuff. Oh, Prototype 2, but that's also 2012. I know there are more games that there's a whole lot of shit about, but I'm trying to keep it so it's talking about games in 2011. So that's everything. I'm off Wikipedia. That's everything off the top of my head that I could think of that I'm anticipating. I'm sure I missed a few, but again, this video is just trying to get me back into the swing of making kind of vloggy videos, and this has been going on for over half an hour. So I think I'm back in that frame of mind where if something comes up, I'll just rush to make a video about it and get my feelings out there. But I'd like to hear what games you're anticipating for the rest of this year, for next year. You could go on to 2012. I'd like to see what games you're anticipating. Put them in the comments. Yeah, video games are cool. I like them, and I'm anticipating a whole bunch of them, as you can tell. And also, keep an eye on this channel because like I said, I am planning to actually use this channel for what I originally intended it for me to get my opinions out there on more stuff more often. and yeah, just if there's just pay attention, and I'll be talking more about stuff.